Hello again. So I just want to go over, I came upon a video from Psych2Go. I go there a lot. They have if you haven't found that site yet, there's a ton of like just self-growth, it's a cool place to go if you like psychology and things like that. But anyway, I ran across this video that super interested in me and had me start thinking. It just talks about if you're more of like an introverted person or an outgoing person, whatever. It kind of has little things that we might favor. And I know for me, it actually came true. To where when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, but that's kind of my path of what I have at the top. So I just want to talk about in this video of, I guess, just what kind of genres I'm in. I just want to kind of spark the conversation. If you guys never thought about it, because again, it interests me, and all I'm doing with that is just if it interests me, if I can throw it out there and you guys can find interest, that's kind of my goal with all this stuff. So for me, when I was growing up, going all through high school and things like that, I had a rough time in my younger years, and I think a lot of us do, just with the confusion and just feeling isolated and alone, and especially if you're like picked on or bullied in high school, it makes it even worse. But I've used music my whole life to get me through it. Nowadays, you know, I'm more outgoing and things like that, and kind of come out of my shadows a lot more. But back when I was young, in the 80s and 90s. 90s is kind of where my genre is. Like, that's my decade of the music I like. I know some of you guys like the 80s, but I'm not into that little techno music and stuff like that. So you guys can have the 80s. But I'm a 90s guy. I listen to all kinds of music, but I really flock to the grunge and the alternative music, rock. So rock and alternative, that's the majority of the music I listen to. I float around, I would say, the next level is hip-hop, R&B, country. It's kind of number 2, 3, like around there. They kind of swirl around. And then pop music and things like that. So with the alternative and rock music, I'm not into the screaming, screamo music or what. It's not screamo music. It's just the heavy metal where they're just, when they start screaming, I turn that down because it brings me anxiety, and I don't want someone screaming at me through the speakers. I like a lot of that, again, just the alternative rock type vibe, you know, Stone Temple Pilots, Bush, things like that. But yeah, so music, it's one of the things that I can connect my past with easiest because I listened so much when I was trying to self-discover myself in the confusion days of just isolation and just really trying to figure out what the heck is going on with me. I use music as a vehicle to the past a lot of times. I can remember vividly of certain points of my life when a certain album came out without even researching what year it came out. I could put myself back in that position of, because something at that point, maybe I was bullied heavy or something like that, and that music kind of helped, so I can tie those together and just like really have a vivid experience of my past through music. And even to this day, I use music I really vibe with a lot of the lyrics, but a lot of times too, I'll realize that even though I listen to a song millions of times, and when I find a new song, I burn it down. Like, I'll find some new song, I'll listen to that song like 400 times a day if it's really something I'm feeling, if I feel the lyrics, if I feel the melody or whatever. I do it in the privacy of my own home or car because I don't want someone to think I'm some crazy person with...
Why you listen to this song over and over and over?
I don't exactly know why I do that, but I do it all the time. For me, a lot of the hip hop and R&B, you know, I listen to Tupac's my favorite rapper, and again, that's like hardcore gangster rap where you're like,
INFPs aren't supposed to listen to that music. That's dangerous.
I grew up in Southern California. That's where I was born and raised until I moved to Ohio. But I have in Southern California, it's very diverse. You're just amongst a huge melting pot of different cultures and things like that. And obviously the West Coast thing and all that things was heavy down in California area. So I grew up on a lot of that stuff. And then when I moved to Ohio, to a small little town, there was nothing but country, like 2 country radio stations. I couldn't stand country at the time, but when there's all that's around, you kind of adopt to it. And there are good, I'm not into like the old school country, like Merle Haggard, and I don't really know. A lot of the old ones. I'm into more of the uppity, Luke Bryan, Brantley Gilbert, people like that. That has, again, more of that rock country / flavor in it. Like, I'll go through life and I'll have different periods where it might just be like some 3-month spurt of only rock alternative, and then I'll do some 3-month spurt of like hip hop and R&B. And nowadays, it does, instead of doing those big long blocks, I more gravitate towards the alternative rock type things. But yeah, I mean, as hard as I go with the metal and the rock, Breaking Benjamin, AC/DC, those are some of that's about as hard as I go. But yeah, when it starts getting crazy, then I I quickly turn it off because, like I said, anxiety flares up. I'm like, oh no. I'll put the link in the description from that Psych to Go video I saw because it's pretty interesting. I got the video like opened up on my phone because I forgot. It kind of bases the types on different things. So I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Complex music like jazz or classical. According to certain studies, you might be more creative or have a higher IQ. Pop music lovers tend to be extroverted and honest. If you like rap music, you're probably pretty outgoing. Country music fans are usually pretty conventional and hardworking, and metalheads tend to be more introverted and could even suffer from low self-esteem. Every single music genre.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but we're gonna take that risk for the benefit of you guys. That whole rock part and the hip hop being the outgoing person, I am outgoing. I mean, yes, I'm reserved and things like that. That's true for a lot of INFPs. Again, because the stereotypes that we are just people who listen to the quietest music and ASMR videos all day long and all this stuff, that's not the case all the time, you know what I mean? It's what you feel comfortable with. And it's not saying that you also listen to the exact same music that I listen to. It's just, again, what we prefer and where we're in the different places of where we grew up and things like that have a natural reflection on what we're going to find interesting because the people around us do, and you just kind of fall into that zone. But yeah, I mean, the older I get, I've just come to find that that's my kind of layers of music that I prefer. It depends, you know, if I'm working out or something like that, obviously I'm gonna amp up the music and I'm gonna turn on that hip hop and things like that just to get that vibe going of, you know, energy and whatnot. As isolated as we can be with ourselves, and just, it almost seems like we don't like to have that poppity, uppity music, and it's not saying that I'm not in the mood for that all the time. I'll listen to like Pink and, I don't know. I listen to a lot of pop stuff, but it's in secrecy because also another thing that I'm curious if this actually is how you guys do it. I just thought about it a few days ago. So I'm very private with my music. I mean, obviously I'm telling you guys kind of what it is and things like that. But when I'm listening to music, I don't like to do it with other people. So especially if I'm in a car, I will if someone jumps in my car, instead of turning my music up and have my, you know, iPhone hooked to my Bluetooth or whatever and just blaring my music groups, I'd rather not turn my music on. I'll turn it on low and things like that, but there's a thing about even when I pull up to if I'm jamming my music with the windows down on a nice sunny day and I come up to like a stoplight, I'll pull up, and if there's a car next to me that I see they have their windows down, I'm either gonna roll up my windows or I'm gonna turn my music down. So it's not, I don't know why I do this. I guess it's probably just that fear of judgment or just not. Maybe this is nothing. Maybe it's just because I'm crazy. And but music to me is just so personal, and I don't want someone to step all over it and just be like,
your music choice is dumb.
Because again, I'm not gonna just not listen to that music that I enjoy. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go listen to it in my house or my car when I'm alone, things like that. But since it is so personal to me, I do kind of protect my music choices with a little bit more than I would with other things. And it's just because it helps me through life. I turn music on all the time, and it's not like when I go home and try to do self-reflection and just try to, you know, when we get in those really low points in our life, I will not go home to a house that's super quiet and I just stare at the ceiling while I reflect. I gotta turn on some music. And a lot of times it's not even me just listening and getting in the zone most of the time. I don't listen to the lyrics half the time. I just have it in the background. It could be loud, it could be quiet, whatever. But it's basically just to kind of go along with my processing time of alone time. So yes, subliminally I might be listening to that in the background. And again, it's like things that I can use to key on back in the past and just be like, oh, subliminally I heard this song when I was reflecting that one time years back. And when I get to the future part, you know what I mean? When I get into the future, I can really, oh yeah, this one time I really got through this time. I heard this music. If it plays again on the radio or something like that randomly, I just jump back to the past and I can really just remember my past through music. I'll cut this off. I found it interesting, so let me know what you guys think, obviously in the comments. You guys know I'm big on comments. But no, whatever, and it doesn't matter what genre, it's just interesting. If you don't have to just put what I like just because I said it and you feel that that's what an INFP needs to do. No, we all listen to different stuff. So I'm just curious on what you guys are all into as well. So it's just another relatable type topic we can all talk about and engage, and that's about it. So again, thank you guys for watching. Much love on support and all that stuff. I super appreciate it. And I will catch you in the next video, and have a great day.